The twin suns burned high in the yellow sky as dust danced over the dry ground. The slave market on planet Varos buzzed with noise. Traders shouted, buyers argued, and chains rattled. The air smelled of oil, sweat, and smoke. It was not a place of mercy. It was a place of business. Harsh, dirty business dock cages stood side by side, metal, rusted, and filled with creatures from across the galaxy. Some slaves cried. Some begged. Some just stared at nothing, their minds already broken. But one cage near the back held something different. Inside sat a girl, or maybe a young woman. She had pale blue skin, short silver hair, and bright glowing eyes. Her wrists were chained, her head down. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She didn't move. The trader standing near her was shouting. His voice was rough, full of anger. "This one? Bah, she's broken," he yelled. "Won't talk, won't work. Just a pretty face with dead eyes. One bottle of liquor, and she's yours," buyers laughed. One tossed a coin and said, "I wouldn't take her for free. She's no good." The trader kicked the cage. She was a fighter once. Tried to escape. Look at her now, all silent. Nothing left inside. The girl didn't flinch. Her glowing eyes stared at the floor. Like she didn't care. Or maybe like she was waiting. Then, from the shadows of the crowd, a tall man stepped forward. He wore a long dark coat, dusty boots, and a weapon on his side. A human. His name was Captain Rayan. He didn't speak at first. He just watched the girl. "Back off, human," the trader grunted. "Not worth your time." But Rayan didn't. Back off. He looked closer. Her skin was smooth but marked with old scars. Her eyes glowed, not like light, but like fire behind glass. There was something in them. Something alive. "What's her name?" Rayan asked. "She don't have one," the trader spat. "Trash don't get names." Rayan looked down at her. The girl slowly raised her head. For a second, just a second, her eyes met his. And in that moment, he saw it. Not fear. Not pain, but awareness. She knew. She was watching. Waiting. "I'll take her," Rayan said. The trader blinked. "You what?" "One bottle," Rayan replied, pulling a silver flask from his bag. "Good earth whiskey." The trader snatched it like a hungry rat. "You're mad, human. She's not even worth that." Rayan opened the cage. The girl didn't move. He bent down, gently removed the chains, and held out his hand. "Come," he said softly. She looked at his hand. Then, slowly, carefully, she stood. She followed him without a word. The market grew silent for a moment. Buyers stared. Traders muttered. "A fool," someone whispered. "She run," said another. "She'll kill him," said a third. Captain Rayan didn't look back. And the girl? She walked beside him like she had already made a decision. Back on his ship, Rayan gave her food. She didn't eat it first. Then slowly she took a bite. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes never left his face. "What's your name?" He asked again. No answer. He sighed. "We'll figure it out. I don't know what you are, but I know you're not broken." She looked down. For the first time her lips moved. No sound came, just a whisper of breath. Rayan leaned forward. "Say it again." But she said nothing. Just stared at her own hands like they belonged to someone else. He left her in the small room and walked to the command deck. His second in command, a gruff woman named Tasha, met him there. "Sir, what's the plan with the girl?" "I don't know yet," Rayan said. "She's different." "Did you see her eyes?" "She's dangerous," Tasha said. "You saw the scars." She's been in fights," Rayan agreed. "But she's still standing." "That means something." Tasha raised an eyebrow. "You think she's worth something?" Rayan looked out the window at the stars. "I think," he said slowly, "she's not what they think she is." In the room below, the girl sat alone. She touched the chain marks on her wrist. Then she looked around the ship. Her fingers moved over the smooth surface of the wall. Her eyes blinked once, twice, and glowed a little brighter. She whispered. One word, soft, so soft no one could hear. Free. And somewhere deep in the systems of the ship, a light flickered. A sensor activated. Something responded. The girl smiled. Just a little. She was waiting. But not for escape. For the right time. To become what she was truly made to be. The engines of Rayan's ship. The horizon drift hummed gently as the girl sat quietly on the metal floor of the medical bay. She hadn't said a word since they left the market. But she watched. She watched everything. Rayan stood near the control panel, arms crossed. He had seen a lot in his years: war, blood, machines, monsters, but nothing like her. Begin scan, he said. The ship's medical AI started to buzz. A blue light ran over the girl's body. She didn't move. Subject appears female. Humanoid, blue-skinned, scarring present. Glowing ocular signature, unknown origin. The AI voice spoke. Any ID in the system? Rayan asked. None, the AI replied. Not in any database. Tasha, his second in command, stepped forward. You just bought a ghost. No, Rayan said. I bought a mystery. He walked to the girl. She didn't flinch. You understand me? He asked. She blinked once. You have a name? Number. Answer. Her lips stayed still. But her eyes, they seemed alive now. Not just watching. Calculating. Raya and handed her a piece of dry cloth and a small container of water. Clean yourself up, he said. You're not in a cage anymore. She took the cloth slowly, touched the water, and wiped her face. As the dust came off, a glowing mark on her neck became visible. It was small, like a burned-in symbol. A circle with 3 lines through it. Ray and leaned closer. That's not a slave mark. Tasha stepped beside him. That's military tech. I've seen it before, in black projects. Rayan's eyes narrowed. She's not just a slave, he whispered. She's built. Later that night, in the quiet hum of the ship, Rayan sat in his quarters, staring at the scan results. Her bones were stronger than human. Her eyes had layers of sensors. Her brain had traces of advanced neural threads, like a machine. But she was no robot. She was something between a weapon and a person. Then, the ship lights flickered. For just a second, then again. And again. Power drop in Corridor 6. The AI announced. Raya grabbed his blaster and rushed toward the med bay. When he got there, the door was open. The girl was gone. Tasha. He barked through the comms. She's moving. I see her, Tasha replied. Deck 2, she's just standing, staring at the engine core. Rayan ran. When he reached Deck 2, he stopped. The girl stood in front of the glowing engine, arms at her side, eyes wide open. She was looking directly into the energy field like it was calling to her. Tasha, hold position, Rayan said. Don't scare her. He walked closer. You're not lost, are you? He said gently. She didn't turn. But then, without warning, she said a word. Her voice was soft but clear. Home. Rayan blinked. What? She turned her head toward him, and this time, he saw something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Her eyes were not just glowing, they were changing. The lights inside them shifted like data flowing through a screen. She pointed to the core. This speaks. Rayan froze. You can hear it? She nodded. It remembers me. Rayan looked at the engine, then at her. You were made in the lab, weren't you? Not born, not sold, created. The girl looked away. They tried to erase me, burn the code, break the will. But they failed, Rayan said. She looked at him. They sold me for a bottle. Rayan stepped closer. And I saw something in you. I still do. She stared at him, silent again. But her breathing slowed, her fists unclenched. For the first time, she looked like she believed him. On the bridge, Tasha watched the security feed. "She's not normal," she muttered. "No," Rayan replied behind her. "She's a message from someone about something. And we're going to find out what." He uploaded the symbol from her neck into the system. "Scan for origin," he ordered. The computer blinked for a moment. Then beep. "Match found. Location: Sector 9, Forbidden Zone. Codename: Project Celesta." Tasha's face went pale. "I thought that place was destroyed." Rayan stared at the screen. "Maybe that's what they want us to believe." Meanwhile, in the engine room, the girl sat cross-legged on the floor, hands resting on her knees, eyes closed. Inside her mind, a soft voice echoed. It was digital, cold, familiar. Unit 9X, memory file partially restored. She opened her eyes. And for the first time she smiled. The horizon drift floated in the dark between stars. Inside, the girl sat on a thin bed in the ship's lower quarters. She stared at the wall, not blinking, not moving. Like a statue with a hidden heartbeat. Rayan had tried everything: questions, food, even music. Still, she said nothing. She ate little, slept less. The only sound she ever made was her breathing. Soft and slow. "She's broken," Tasha said. "Even if she was made in a lab, it doesn't matter now. The damage is done." "No," Rayan replied. "She's waiting for something." 3 decks above, a red light blinked. A warning: energy fluctuation detected. System drain, unidentified source. Security locked. Then the lights flickered. Then again, and then blackout. The entire ship went dark. Emergency lights clicked on with a low hum. Red beams lit the hallway. Like blood flowing through veins, Tasha ran to the bridge. "System failure. I'm locking everything down." Rayan didn't answer. He was already running toward the lower deck. Toward her. She was standing now, not scared, not surprised. Just ready. Her eyes glowed like blue fire in the dark. He opened the door slowly. "What's happening?" And then she spoke. One word. Her voice calm, but sharp like ice. "Run." Rayan froze before he could reply. Boom! The ship shook. Alarm screamed. Metal groaned. Unknown object has breached the hull. The AI shouted. Automated drones inbound. Hostile signatures confirmed. Tasha's voice came through the comms, panicked. "We're under attack." 6 drones just cut into the cargo bay. Rayan pulled out his blaster. "Stay behind me." But the girl stepped forward, her feet bare on the cold floor. Her arms loose at her side. No fear in her face. "I remember them," she whispered. Another blast shook the ship. Smoke filled the hallway. From the shadows a drone appeared. Black, spider-like, with sharp legs and glowing red eyes. It charged forward, before Rayan could fire. The girl moved. Fast. Too fast. She grabbed the metal bar from the wall and threw it like a spear. It struck the drone straight through the head. Sparks flew. It collapsed, twitching. Rayan stared. "How?" She turned to him, breathing steady. "I was made to kill them. And now, I'm awake." They ran to the engine deck. 3 more. Drones were crawling down the walls, cutting into wires, sending sparks everywhere. The girl didn't wait. She leapt up, used the pipes like steps, and landed on the first drone. Her hand glowed, a strange electric pulse, and when she touched its core, it exploded. The second drone turned and fired. She rolled under the beam, grabbed its leg, and slammed it into the wall. Rayan fired his blaster at the third, backing her up. Smoke filled the deck. The fight was over in seconds. And the girl? She stood in the center, breathing heavy, covered in dust and burns. But she was smiling now, just a little. "I know who I am," she said softly. "Not all, but some." Rayan walked closer, eyes wide. "What else do you remember?" She looked at him. "I was called Unit 9X. I was not meant to survive." Later, Rayan patched her wounds. Her skin healed faster than normal. Her blood shimmered like silver. Tasha stood at the door, arms crossed. She took down 4 attack drones with no armor, no training, no weapon. She has training, Rayan said. It's just buried inside her, coming back piece by piece. And the attack? Tasha asked. That's not random. No, Rayan said. Someone knows she's alive, and they're trying to erase her. Again. That night, Rayan gave her a blanket. As he turned to leave, she spoke again. You didn't run, she said. No, Rayan replied. You warned me. She looked down. You believed I was worth something. When no one else did, he paused. I still do, she nodded. Then I'll stay. And just like that, the silence between them broke. She was no longer cargo. No longer property. She was part of the crew now. But somewhere, far across the stars, a signal had been sent, and in the shadows of a hidden world, a cold voice whispered, UNIT 9X has activated. Deploy retrieval. Asterisk, she never asked for this. She didn't want to remember. But the code inside her was waking up. And some memories were not hers. The stars outside the horizon drift glowed calmly. But inside the ship, chaos stirred. Rayan stood in the med bay, staring at the symbol he had scanned from the girl's neck. It pulsed on the screen, repeating every few seconds. 3 lines through a circle. Project Celesta. Sector 9. Forbidden Zone. A place even bounty hunters avoided. Tasha leaned over his shoulder. I've seen that symbol in war files. Black budget stuff, experiments, disappearances. Not disappearances, Rayan said quietly, erased lives. He turned to the girl, no longer silent, no longer weak. She sat calmly, hooked to the neural scanner. A light blinked above her head. You sure about this? He asked her. She nodded once. I want to know who I am. Rayan gave the command, start memory sync. Her mind opened like a broken door. And behind it, hell waited. Flashes, screams, syringes, steel hands. A room of white walls and no names. Machines buzzing, children crying. A voice, cold, Kilm, Unit 9X. Memory lock sequence complete. Subject ready for deployment. The girl gasped. On the screen, images flickered. A lab. Dozens of pods, each holding a child, all glowing. All still, test logs played. Subject 9X is the only one who stabilized. Emotions are fading. Instinct remains strong. Memory wipes are working. She no longer remembers Earth. Perfect. A weapon with no past, and no questions. The girl gripped the chair. Her knuckles turned white, then one final file unlocked. A video log, blurry, damaged. A scientist appeared. His eyes looked tired, sad. If someone finds this, know that she wasn't just built, she was rescued. We tried to give her a new life. But they found us. We had to sell her, to hide her. She is not a weapon anymore. She is a person. Protect her. Her real name is Celesta. The girl opened her eyes. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not from pain, but from something heavier. Truth. Her voice shook. Celesta. That's me. Rayan placed a hand on her shoulder. They tried to erase you, but they couldn't. You're still here. She looked at him. I wasn't just built. I was stolen, trained, wiped, then left in chains like trash. No, Rayan said. They were afraid of you. Afraid you'd remember. Afraid you'd wake up. Suddenly, alarm blared. Unmarked ship approaching. High speed. Weapons. Charged, Tasha shouted from the bridge. We've got incoming. No ID, no response to hails. This is military tech, dark ops style. Celesta stood. I know that ship, she said, voice cold. They built me there. Now they've come to take me back. Rayan loaded his blaster. They're not taking you anywhere. Celesta shook her head. They won't come to talk. They'll come to clean up the mess, me. She walked to the window and watched the dark ship approach. Its surface was smooth, silent, without lights, a shadow. A ghost from her past. But this time she didn't run. She didn't hide. She stood tall. I was just one bottle of liquor to them, she whispered. But they forgot one thing. Rayan turned to her. What's that? She looked at him. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. I remember now. In the control room of the enemy ship, a commander leaned over the screen. He stared at her. Image with dead eyes. Unit 9X has activated full memory core. She is no longer a sleeper, no longer under control. A soldier asked, "Do we retrieve her?" The commander shook his head. "No, she's aware. That makes her dangerous." He gave the order, "Destroy her." Back on the horizon drift, Rayan prepared for a fight, but Celesta was calm. "I won't run," she said again. "This time, I fight." Rayan looked at her, proud. "Then let's show them what one bottle of liquor really bought." And far above the stars, the war that made her had returned. But Celesta was not a weapon anymore. She was something more dangerous. She was awake. You can run from your past. You can hide your memories. But once they know you're alive, they will come for you. And when they do, they never leave witnesses. It started with silence. Not the kind that brings peace, but the kind before. A storm. The enemy ship hovered far above the horizon drift. No signals. No lights, just darkness. Watching, Celesta sat on the edge of her bed, still, her hands pressed together. Her breathing was slow, calm, but her eyes were different now. No longer scared, no longer lost. Just focused. Tasha stormed into the room. "That ship is moving again. They're circling us like hunters." "They are hunters," Celesta said without turning. "But I'm not prey anymore." In the command deck, Rayan examined the scans. The enemy ship wasn't sending ID codes. It wasn't showing weapons. But he knew better. Ships like that didn't talk. They didn't warn. They erased. "They've come to clean up the project," he muttered. "They know Celesta remembers everything." Tasha crossed her arms. "Then what are they waiting for?" Celesta walked in quietly. "They're scanning," she said. "Looking for weak points. They know I'm awake. But they don't know how much I've remembered, yet." Rayan looked at her. "And how much have you?" Celesta's eyes glowed. "Enough to know they're scared of me." That night, the horizon drift changed course. Rayan charted a new path, deep into the asteroid belt of Sector 7. A dangerous place. But it offered cover. "Can't fight them in open space," Tasha said. "They'll wipe us out." "They won't stop," Celesta added. "As long as I'm breathing, they'll hunt." "Then we'll make them bleed," Rayan said. But Celesta shook her head. "Not yet. There's something I have to find." First, she returned to the engine room, the same place where she first spoke. The glowing core thrummed with light. And as she reached toward it, her fingers sparked. Memories hit her like a storm. A map. A vault. A file called Prototype. "0, she gasped. "There's another one, like me." She ran back to Rayan. "I wasn't the only one. There was another, a failed test. Prototype 0. They buried him on a mining moon. Station Theta 9. Rayan's jaw tightened. "If he's still alive, he'll know what I don't." Celesta said, "He might even know how to stop them." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Boarding pods incoming. Brace for impact." Rayan and Tasha rushed to the weapons console. "They're not waiting anymore," Tasha growled. "They're coming in." Celesta stepped toward the blast door. Rayan grabbed her arm. "You're not going alone." She looked back. "I wasn't planning to." The ship shook as metal claws dug into the hull. The first pod ripped open. And out came the soldiers. Not human. Not fully machine either. These were cleaners, silent, pale, soulless. Their helmets bore no symbols. Their hands held energy blades, not guns. Celesta stepped into the hallway. Her eyes lit like fire. The soldiers stopped. She raised her hand. A pulse of light blasted from her palm. The walls cracked, the air bent. 2 soldiers hit the wall so hard they didn't move again. The others charged. Rayan fired from behind her. Tasha set up a turret near the stairs. But Celesta didn't hide. She moved like lightning. Like instinct. Like someone who had fought in 10 wars and survived all of them. Because she had died by the end of the battle. The ship was burning in 3 places. 1 wing had been torn open. The air system was down. And 6 enemy bodies floated in space. But they survived. Barely. Rayan patched his wounds. That was just a scout team. They were testing me, Celesta said. Next time, it'll be worse. Tasha coughed. Then we need to find this prototype 0, fast. Rayan looked at the map. Celesta pulled from the core. Theta 9 is far, abandoned, no support, no help. Celesta stood in the flickering light of the damaged hallway. Her voice was steady. We don't need help, she said. We need the truth, Rayan nodded. Then we run. Tasha added, no, we hunt back. And above them, on the dark enemy ship, the commander stared at the burning wreckage of Horizon Drift. He clenched his fist. She survived again. He turned to his crew. Prepare the kill team. No more shadows. No more mercy. Across the galaxy, the hunt was no longer a secret. Celesta wasn't just running from her past anymore. She was chasing it, and when she caught it, it would burn. She thought she was just a broken experiment, a weapon gone wrong. But deep in a forgotten moon, she learned the truth. She wasn't a mistake. She was their greatest fear. The Horizon Drift limped across the stars, burned, bruised, and nearly broken. But it was still flying. Rayan stood at the control deck, staring at the destination ahead. A small, cold moon, Theta 9, no cities, no life, no signals. Just rock, snow, and silence. But Celesta said the answers were there. She stood behind him now, wrapped in a jacket, her glowing eyes watching the stars. This place, she whispered. I've seen it in dreams, cold walls, white lights, pain. You sure the prototype is here? Rayan asked. He was here before they buried everything. Before they buried me. The ship landed with a heavy groan. The air outside was thick with frost. Snow blew across the cracked ground like dust in an ancient tomb. Celesta stepped out first. The wind hit her skin, but she didn't shiver. It was like her body remembered this place even before her mind did. Ahead, half covered in ice, was a door. No lights. No welcome. Just a faded mark. Project Celesta, Lab 0. Ray, and looked at it. This is the beginning. Celesta stepped forward. Her hand hovered over the scanner. To everyone's surprise, it beeped green. Access granted. The door opened with a slow, angry hiss. Inside, the lab was a graveyard. Broken screens. Cracked glass tubes. Faded blood on the floor. Tasha whispered. What happened here? Celesta's voice was distant. They shut it down after they made me and one before me. They moved deeper until they reached a dark chamber. In the center, a giant pod stood upright, frozen over, power dead. Rayan wiped the ice away. Inside was a boy. No, not a boy. Something else. Older, stronger, but not alive. Prototype 0. Celesta whispered. The first. She touched the glass. Her mind connected. Suddenly, the lab came alive. Screens blinked. Lights glowed. A recording started. A man's voice, calm, heavy. If you're hearing this, you've found the truth. We built her Unit 9X after 0 failed. He was too strong. Too fast, too angry. He killed 3 handlers in one day. We couldn't control him. So we tried again. We made her. Smarter, softer, more human. But that made her dangerous in a different way. She asked questions. She cried. She loved. She wasn't a weapon, she was alive. And that scared them more than anything. Celesta's hands were shaking. I was never broken, she whispered. They were. She backed away from the pod. Her breath heavy. Her voice small. They erased him, then tried to erase me, but I survived. Rayan stepped beside her. And now you know why they're still hunting. Because I'm the proof, she said, that they failed. That they created life and tried to kill it. Tasha pointed to a console. There's a file here. Looks like a transmission key. You could send this story to the whole galaxy. Celesta looked at it, her finger hovering. But if I do, she said, they'll come with everything. Not just one ship, an army. Rayan looked into her glowing eyes. They're coming anyway. Suddenly, the lab shook. Outside. Ships landed. Multiple. Fast. Loud. Angry. The voice came through their coms. This is Command Alpha. Facility breach confirmed. Kill all targets. Recover the girl. Rayan loaded his weapon. Celesta didn't move. Let them come, she said softly. I know who I am now. She stepped to the door. I am Celesta. I am not your weapon. I am your reckoning. As the soldiers entered the lab, Celesta stood in front of them. No armor. No shield. Just her glowing eyes and a calm heart. And behind her, the lab whispered back to life. Old machines remembering the child they raised. And the woman she became. For years, they thought she was just a project, just a product, just a number. But now the truth echoed across the cold walls of Theta 9. She was never their creation. She was their consequence. They called her worthless, sold her for a bottle, hunted her like a mistake. But now, the mistake is theirs. And she's not alone anymore. The snow outside the lab burned red. Fire danced across the cold ground as dropships landed like hammers. Soldiers in black armor spread out. No names, no questions. Only orders. Inside the ruins of Theta 9. Celesta stood still. Her body glowed faintly. Her mind was sharp. Her voice was silent, but her heart was thundering. Behind her, Rayan and Tasha were setting up defenses. Too many, Tasha whispered. We won't hold. We don't have to hold, Celesta said. We have to wake them. She turned to the wall and pressed her palm against the old console. The one from Project Celesta's core. The machine pulsed. Screens cracked. Lights flickered. Then voices. Dozens of them. Memory echoes. From the others, from the forgotten, the failed. Subject 3X terminated for emotional instability. Subject 5Y escaped containment, unknown status. Subject 7 missing during transport. Celesta gasped. They survived. She turned to Rayan. They're not all dead. They scattered, hidden, broken like me. Sold like me. Tasha stared at the map lighting up the screen. Blinking dots across the galaxy. You can wake them? She asked. Celesta nodded. I am the code. My voice is the key. Outside, the enemy commander raised his hand. Open fire. Missiles. Launched. Rockets screamed. The lab shook, but Celesta didn't flinch. She whispered into the console. To all those they tried to break. To all the worthless sold for nothing, I'm still here. And I remember you. Her pulse triggered a signal. A wave. A call. Far across the stars, old minds stirred. Forgotten projects. Ex-slaves, silent weapons. Eyes opened. Hands clenched. And pain became purpose. Back at Theta 9, the soldiers entered the lab. Where is she? One barked. Then, the lights cut. Silenced. One by one, they were pulled into the dark. Not by machines. Not by rebels. By the ones they thought were gone. A flash. Unit 5Y emerged from shadow. A scream, Unit 7 broke free from the ice. Across the galaxy, the scraps had risen. Celesta walked through the smoke, unarmed, glowing. You erased our names, she said. So we became one. The commander raised his gun. You're still just a lab rat. She looked at him with fire in her eyes. No, I'm your mirror. He fired. She raised her hand. The bullet stopped mid-air, frozen. By the energy now fully awakened inside her dot, she whispered one final word. Enough. The battlefield quieted. No one moved. The enemy ship exploded in the sky above, taken down by a pulse wave from the awakened minds across the network. They weren't weapons anymore. They were survivors. They were witnesses. And Celesta, she was their voice. Hours later, Rayan walked beside her through the remains of the lab. Where will you go now? He asked. Celesta looked at the stars. I was made to be controlled, she said. Then they tried to erase me. But you're still standing, he replied. She smiled softly. I was sold for a bottle of liquor, she said. Now I'm worth an army, and so the galaxy learned a name it once tried to bury. Not a number, not a code. A name. Cel isti iadata. Girl they called Broken. The one they threw away. She didn't just rise. She awakened everyone else.